welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Crazy Eyes Trevor Scott.
Oh my god, I have really crazy eyes. And a crazy voice because I'm still sick.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll push through.
My voice is better than that, but it's still not great.
The things we do for our adoring video game public. So what we're going to do tonight is we are going to jump back onto what3words.com, and this is a site that has sliced the planet into 3-meter squared segments, assigned 3 words to each of them, and we are going to click around randomly and get these 3 words and turn them into a game design. And we'll just have a little bit of fun with it, as usual. So, Trev, you want to start us off? What 3 words do you have?
Enforce. Clients recommend.
Enforce. Clients recommend. Okay. I'm amused by the idea of enforcing a recommendation. It's like you recommend to your clients a particular,
I mean, I sort of saw this as you're an enforcer that comes highly recommended to clients. So it's effectively like one of these things of during the year, while you're waiting for PAX to come around again, you're off doing other enforcing things.
Enforcer.
You're doing other enforcing things that's like you're almost like a mercenary, and then you come back to PAX and you're just dealing with normal sort of things. That's what came into my head.
I wasn't even thinking PAX. Okay. I do like the idea of so I'm going to take Enforcer away from PAX and more to just a general, like, muscle, hired muscle, essentially. Because I do like the idea of essentially going on these hired muscle jobs, but you need to do it in a way that you will ensure recommendations that your client recommends you.
I can almost see this as a reverse hitman, that you're always looking for that guy that's sort of just, seems a little bit off. So you maybe tail him for a while and you see him take someone else out. So then you're taking him out.
I'm almost thinking of this as more of a what was Bulletstorm? Mm-hmm. But melee based, in that I'm kind of picturing you getting different points or different. Like, essentially, if you're doing stuff in front of people, then you're going to get more recommendation points. Like, you're essentially advertising your business through beating people up.
On one condition, there is DLC, and you are at PAX.
Yeah, there can be a PAX level. That's like...
Because I would love for you to come, highly recommended, and then you can't do any of that stuff at PAX. So it's like
until there's a need for it, and then you're going to get a ton of recommendations because you just beat the shit out of someone in front of like 50,000 people
who was really not really doing the wrong thing in the diversity lounge. Being a total prick. Cool. So what are the sort of other skills this guy can do?
Well, so I'm thinking there's a bit of a balance. I think it is around, like, essentially how many people are watching you at any point. And so if you get hit while people are watching you, then those are like negative points.
I can kind of see it almost like the PP from Dead Rising. That you got like the points for taking the photos and all that sort of stuff, but you also got it for like skill shots and all that sort of stuff within killing all the zombies. I'm picturing that you get reputation points or RP, but it's one of those sliding scales of it can go up, but it can also come down depending on how you're going.
Yeah, so I think the goal really is around impressing the people around you in some way, because the more people that you impress, the more recommendations you're going to get, and you're going to get, you're going to be paid more, you're going to get more job offers and be more in demand. Now, I think there is something around, obviously, if you accidentally attack someone who wasn't doing anything wrong or shouldn't have been enforced in some way, or if you get the shit beaten out of you in front of all these people, like, then, yeah, that starts bringing in negative stuff.
Okay. I like the idea of kind of like the levels that you go through are like sponsorship levels. So you can get your reputation up there and you start getting sponsorships from companies and all this sort of stuff. But if just because you've been able to gain levels doesn't mean that you can't drop back down through those levels and start losing some of those perks that you actually got.
Yeah. Well, maybe this is in like the enforcer sort of professional society or whatever you call it. What would but the professional organization for enforcers. Where, yes, like, if you have reached a certain point based on recommendations, then you get perks, and that can play out in literal gameplay changes, or like you might start a level with something extra, or you might unlock new moves, that sort of thing. Because I'm thinking it's basically a kind of level based situation where you are in a crowded place. Like, it might be that you're in a shopping mall. It might be that you're out in a park. It might be that you are at a bar, doing bouncer work or whatever. And you're only attacking the people who are causing problems, essentially. But it's very easy to have collateral damage in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. And so I think the moves then are a lot around moving the opponents in ways like throwing them or shoving them. You've got, I'm picturing a lot of environmental attacks. Kind of a bit of, what was that? Was it Def Jam New York or something?
Oh, yes.
There's just a lot of sort of environmental attacks and different things in that. Mm-hmm. You're shoving people around.
You kind of got some of the Dead Rising things of you can pick up anything and attack someone with it. Like, yes. you can pick up a massive chair and, run someone through with it. You can pick up an A-frame and, close them in it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that will... Then the different types of levels obviously will give just a lot of variety there around the props and the different things that you've got to utilize. There's almost just a weird, like, professional wrestling style thing to it as well, where just in the sort of view that you've got and the fact that, you've just got all these props and you can, like, climb up on the bar and jump down and smash them from the top and that sort of thing. Like, that sort of variety of moves really utilizing the environment.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of maybe getting an air juggle in there every now and again that you can, sort of uppercut them and, come through with a massive haymaker and just, launch them across the bar and into...
Yeah. But, don't hit an innocent bystander with their, flailing body, because...
But also...
You're going to lose some rep points.
You can break any of the bottles except for, Smirnoff vodka, because they're your sponsor, sort of thing. So... if you manage to break everything but the Smirnoff, like, that's going to look good, because they're your international sponsor.
I do like the idea then of almost having these kind of little Easter eggy challenges per level, where, yes, you do have specific challenges of, break all the bottles except the Smirnoff, kick a dog, or I don't know. I'm just thinking of what the different environments and what sorts of things might come up. Hit a home, like, you're at a baseball game, you're enforcing a baseball game, and it's like, hit a home run with the dad who's going off with his, hit a home run with his head or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, you could have lots of little fun things like that.
I'm been trying to rack my brain as to what this organization or this, sort of network would be called of these enforcers.
Bullies are us.
I mean, my head just kept on saying, well, the acronym is obviously penis, but I just need to know Professional Enforcers Network, and then IS is just, like, it's not coming to me. Like,
Professional Enforcers Network information systems. That's not anything.
We'll come back to it. One of us will think of that. In Sydney.
They moved packs to Sydney for the DLC. Or maybe you've just gone on a
international
interstate job. Yeah. All right. I think we'll leave that one there. My 3 words. I have Cage Elite unopened.
Ooh.
This made me think of like a Pokemon style collection game of some sort.
Okay. Yep. What are you collecting though? Because it's obviously not pocket monsters, is it?
Or a loot boxy sort of thing? Because I'm just thinking, well, it's something that would be kept in a cage, and elite is coming from sort of, that's one of the rarities, right? Like, I've got an elite cage that I haven't opened yet because I've earned it in some manner.
Can we bring in the elite beat agents?
That's a pull from a while back in our kind of gaming history.
At least I didn't say Osterkatu Awendon.
I would not have remembered that. Okay, only because we're being improvisers, and I'm going to yes and you on this. So is this some sort of touch rhythm-based game with collections?
Yeah,
with collectible creatures?
Maybe the elite beat agents have actually been captured throughout the world, and you're going through and like bringing them back into your team. You're the one remaining elite beat agent, and you've got to try and rescue everyone from cages.
Okay, from cages, and that's where the cages come in. All right, is this like Elite Beat Agents Go? Is this a AR? It's like Pokemon Go.
Yes.
You're having to actually move around your environment to find these cages.
That. And when you come across, well, I'm imagining that as you're walking around, you come across a trail, and you've got to do like little
rhythm games,
rhythm segments to beat like some of the smaller agents, like agents of evil, on the way to saving this person. So it's sort of like you beat down some of the lower level thugs, and then it sort of leads up to a big boss sort of guy. And when you beat him, then you get the elite beat agent sort of thing. So it's almost like the Pokemon battles that you have that you can find maybe some people to help you along the way, like, here we found a scientist who used to work in the group. And
I think you really need to expand out, and we can even add some narrative stuff in there potentially of it's not just all the agents you're saving, because we obviously we want people to be playing this for quite a while. And so there needs to be at least like 100 different people you need to save or something like that. And I like the idea that you unlock new songs as you save them as well, right? Because for those who don't know what the hell we're talking about, Elite Beat Agents was like a Nintendo DS game.
And it was the US version of a Japanese game that had like little comic book sort of story in the background, and then...
Yeah, it was a rhythm game essentially where with the stylus you had to... tap little dots on the screen or slide across, like move motions across the screen to follow these dots in time with the beat. It was really a very satisfying game to play when you get it right. And yes, with the stories kind of going on in the background, there were always these funny little comic book stories that were amusing to watch, and add that in as well. So I definitely like the idea that every one of these battles that you find, you may be earning points to unlock because I'm just thinking of like, while something like Pokemon Go, yes, there's however many 100 Pokemon that you can unlock in the game, but you're getting multiples of them and stuff. So we may want to do something around that. You get, you've unlocked 3 out of 10 of this particular person, before you actually get like their song and their little comic book and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of, as you're going around, you're finding clues to where they maybe be around your area, and it's sort of like,
and each of those is like a shorter song or a shorter little thing that you have to
and when
beat.
you finally find all the clues, that's basically all the parts of the song that you've actually been sort of playing.
Gotcha.
And then you play the song against the bad guy and unlocking your character.
Yeah.
I like the idea of
cool.
It sort of tells you where in your neighborhood that you can go.
Yeah, I think you get, you can have it be this really sort of fun, campy kind of spy tech thing.
Yeah.
Of you're getting like pings on your local map of the direction to go. And you get those little radar dots showing up, which are, searching, which are the clues essentially. Yeah, I don't know if you need to go full on AR and have like, pointing your camera at shit or not.
I kind of like the idea of going into, and this is going to be a massive callback, onlinespyschool.com, which I can tell you now, that link
you just looked it up.
No longer goes to the right.
Oh, does it
place.
not?
Nah. It says Captivate, site not found.
Oh, I need to fix that. We own that URL.
Episode 23.
Episode 23.
onlinespyschool.com. I love it. I think that was one of the best things that we ever... The fact that we actually bought that URL. I think bringing that back in, because they're spies, they're, elite beat agents, so they all went to onlinespyschool.com, and that's what all the clues are leading you down to, that someone's actually broken into and corrupted onlinespyschool.com.
I kind of like that as the interface on your app. In a way, it's like it looks like you're going to onlinespyschool.com, and that's where you've got your little radar and stuff, and you're kind of solving things through that, and it's like little message boards or stuff. All the people trying to find the missing spies.
Now, because we don't want everyone to have to go to one particular place, effectively the clues are sort of separated out in the fact that you can go off to this sort of landmark, and you go to this landmark, and
oh yeah, I think. Well, I don't even know if they're literal clues to the location in that, like how those AR or those location based games work. You just need to pull down map data and associate, with local public landmarks and things.
Yeah, but the worst thing that you could do is what happened in a couple of things early on in Pokemon Go, where people ended up being sent to crack dens and they happened to be near landmarks. It just wasn't a very good thing for the game. So let's try to stop that by having it that all the clues are sort of separated out into it doesn't really matter which landmark you're going to. You can actually continue playing this game, even if you can't move too far.
Yeah, look, there are definitely challenges around that, and as someone who lives a very sedentary lifestyle, I've never played those games because fuck following clues down the shops just so I can get something new in my game. So I don't know. Maybe we add an option for people who want to sit on their couch and just virtually move around. But no, I like that.
You've got the Go version, and then you got the
Stay. The nah.
Stay.
Elite Beat Agents, nah.
Yeah, nah. Elite Beat Agents, go. Elite Beat Agents, yeah, nah.
No, if you're doing it that way, you have to have Elite Beat Agents, yeah, nah, and Elite Beat Agents, nah, yeah. And it's very obvious to everyone listening what that means. All right, Trev, give me 3 words. What are we doing next?
Staged prawn brew.
Staged prawn brew?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of why you would stage a drink, a brew.
Well, I'm thinking that this is a nautical themed sort of thing. This is the prawn brew, and it's kind of like, I see staged, but I'm also thinking of kind of like a Wild West stagecoach sort of robbery. So maybe a nautical themed Western. I kind of like the idea of like a wet.
Isn't that just pirates?
Yeah, but but kind of like when we saw Firefly and they were space cowboys. Mm-hmm. I want these as water cowboys,
sea cowboys,
kind of like
manatee boys.
I'm almost seeing this as like a Waterworld-esque world where, you know, the town is like a floating sort of set of rafts set together and all this sort of stuff. You're sort of going around. You can, you know, maybe rob banks and all this sort of stuff, do stagecoach robberies. But it's
all on the water.
It's all on the water.
Can we have some modern tech then? Because I do like the idea of
the speedboat
cowboys on jet skis.
Oh, yeah.
Robbing a speedboat, essentially, or a cruise liner, or a...
Yeah.
You know... Okay.
So everything can be somewhat, like, run down a little bit. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what that aesthetic is, because I don't think... You're obviously not going to have cowboy attire on speedboats and jet skis, but you want to evoke that same feeling.
Well, now I'm just picturing the cowboy hat and the neoprene really go well together. There's just something about like wetsuit material and a wetsuit material cowboy hat.
A wetsuit material cowboy hat is good. I will give you that.
Neoprene cowboy hat.
That's the episode title right there, I think. Are you doing any actual cattle rustling? Like, are you rounding up dolphins?
You're doing the cattle of the sea, which is obviously walruses. You know, you're
or like manatees, right?
Yeah.
So isn't that actually a sea cow?
Probably. So yeah, manatees. That works perfectly.
Sea cow, extinct mammal. Oh,
no,
I think there's dugong. Dugong is known as the sea cow. Is that different to the manatee?
I don't know.
Manatees are also known as sea cows. Okay, anyway. However, despite the name, they are more closely related to elephants. I like that. I like having some actual just like ranch work to do, right?
Ooh, I'm kind of seeing this as Red Dead Redemption, but it's really Wet Dead Redemption.
Red Sea Redemption. Yeah, I do like Wet Dead Redemption too. That's pretty good.
There's just something about, you know, doing little missions where, you know, you dive down and you and your crew are all sort of, you know, swimming underneath and come up under the bank
with the hat on.
You come up under the bank and you cut a hole in the bottom of the raft and break in and steal everything.
And then you got like a shootout and harpoon guns and
I mean, it's just endless. The story can actually just be that, you know, all the ice caps melted.
Oh yeah, we don't really need to just, you know, figure out why the world is flooded. It's a flooded world. That's fine.
So it means that you're going to occasionally get like little mountains, but it's like there's not enough room on there for people to live, basically.
Or they're just very strongly contested, right? Like you get a lot of shootouts, a lot of territory, battles over that territory happening, and you could set it around that. Like I love the idea if you've got your classic, you know, Red Dead style map, but it's like almost all blue. It's just almost all water. And then you do have like, you've got your territories, you know, dotted lines around, like this is the, you know, manatee wranglers territory, and over here are the dolphin boys, and, you know, down here you have the mermaids. I don't know.
Okay, so picture this. It opens up, you know, it's just said Wet Dead Redemption or whatever, and it opens up on a saloon, and you're sitting down, and
a sea-loon.
You ask for a brew, and, you know, you put your hand out, and in comes a brew with a prawn on top.
Yep.
And it's
got
sort of
the
like
prawn tail sticking out. Yep.
Yep. You've downed it, and it's like that'll be $3, and you flick him some money.
Flip him some $C.
You turn around. He walks out
$dollars.
out of the swinging
saloon doors,
and there's just blue.
It just opens. That's just this vista of ocean. Yeah,
it's a vista of ocean, and basically this is a floating saloon.
That's when you get that. That's when the title comes up.
Yeah.
So that's your pre-title sequence. Yeah.
I mean, at least we're not doing an Ubisoft where you play for 3 hours of the game and then the titles come up.
Oh, come on, I love when they do that. Then it's like, oh man, the game's only just started. Only works if it's a good game.
Yeah, I know. There was one game I played, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, oh, the titles are only just coming up now. Ooh.
I thought it was nearly done.
Nope.
All right,
finish the tutorial.
We need to explore this further.
Yeah.
Because I love this idea. Despite the fact that we literally did a Flooded World 2 episodes ago, but that was very different.
Very different.
So you stand up from the bar, slap on your Neoprene Cowboy hat. Jesus Christ, I can't get past that.
Yep. Okay, you go out there and you see your, you say, I've got to go ride old Bessie, and you go out there and it's like this old jet ski just sort of with Bessie written on the side, and it's like you jump on your jet ski, and that's sort of where it opens up.
That's where it opens up, and now you're driving around, and you get a call on your radio from one of your partners.
Yep,
your partners, saying, "Hey, get over to." I don't know, how would they navigate in this world? What would they know?
Get over to Harbour Town.
There'd be anchored settlements and stuff. Yeah.
Get over to Harbour Town, and you go over, and it's in a harbour, but it's like the smallest amount
of buildings.
Ooh.
You see the tops of all the skyscrapers that were like on the water's edge.
But you can't enter them because they're all completely destroyed.
Oh, they're all destroyed and filled with water. They're not.
They're not explorable in this one.
No. This is set a couple of millennia after our previous game.
I'd only just remembered it when you said about the buildings, and I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Okay, so they've gone back in time. Why can they all still ride jet skis and all this sort of stuff? How are they still getting fuel? Has someone actually...
Did you say they've gone back in time?
Oh, I don't know what I said. I'm high on flu medication right now. So this is like far in the future or whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, back a long time ago, there was fuel, but how are they fueling their jet skis now? Is there like some awesome technology that someone's come up with where you don't actually need fuel anymore? These are all
fossil fuels, yeah.
Electric jet skis and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think I guess it depends, because you could bring in some Mad Max style, like that fuel is a resource in this world, whether it's fossil fuels or something else, batteries or different things.
It could even be something simple like a kind of like in Back to the Future, where they had the thing that you could take the old food scraps and like Mr. Compost or whatever.
Mr. It wasn't Mr. Compost though, was it? Mr. something. Anyway, one of those nights. Yeah, well, I was thinking you could explain it away with just like that somehow they've solved it, where the jet skis all have built-in like electrolysis.
It was Mr. Fusion.
Mr. Fusion, right? That they all have built-in like is it electrolysis when you separate the hydrogen and oxygen from water, and then they're all just like hydrogen powered.
Ooh,
but somehow they managed to just have these little electrolysis. That's right.
Yeah. So where do you start? We already know that you start in the saloon. Are you a reasonably good guy at the start, and then you get sort of dragged into the...
Well, how many of the kind of cowboy tropes that Red Dead leans into, do we also lean into? Like, are you someone who's on the run, but you're actually a good guy, and you've just done something to save your family, but now you're, on the wrong side of the law?
Or are you a sheriff who's literally will do anything to sort of get the bad guys? And
I like the idea that you start off as the deputy sheriff of one of these settlements, because then there's somewhere to move up to. You can. So the
prologue, you're all about you're being a deputy.
Yeah, and then I think it leads up to the sheriff being killed.
Yes.
So we create a relationship there. The sheriff has been your mentor this whole time. Let's make it a woman. The sheriff's a woman. She's been your mentor this whole time, and at risk of fridging her. I'm trying to be,
inclusive.
Inclusive.
You do realise that the deputy could easily be female, and then
as well, of course. Yes, I think we do some character choice, Mass Effect style at the very least.
No, stuff it. It's just like all the Rockstar games. They always choose males, so therefore,
that's true.
In this case, we're choosing females.
Yep, they're both women. So yes, you're the sheriff who has been your mentor this whole time, and you. So yeah, I think you start off with a couple of those missions. So you come out of the saloon, and she calls you on your radio, and she's like, "Deputy, get over to Harbour Town because there's something going down. We need you here." And that leads into a shootout. I don't think she gets killed there. I think maybe she gets wounded or something.
Yeah, by a harpoon gun.
Yeah, she gets harpooned through like the shoulder.
Yep.
And so you have to, put her on the back of your jet ski, take her to, the medical area, like some medical place.
Yep. Love it.
Then you can explore that relationship with her a bit more. But then, yes, I think she does get killed fairly early on, and
or does she? Is it one of these things of, it looks like she's died, but in reality,
oh yeah,
there's some.
She was actually a dirty sheriff, maybe.
Or she faked her death. She faked her death to get away because there was actually some really bad people after her.
There's like the organized crime
C mob
of this area. The C mob. The mafia.
Oh god, that was great.
Yeah, I like that actually. That's kind of cool. But I think maybe as part of your investigation, as the story goes on, you start to suspect that she was actually on the take from them. So you do have that nice dramatic turn of, she's my mentor for so long, I mourned her death, but now I'm finding out she was actually crooked. But then she comes back at the end, essentially, and it's like, no, I wasn't crooked.
I was clearing my name. I was
clearing my name. I faked my death so that they wouldn't come after me, and now I've finally found a way to bring them down with your help, essentially.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. So, do you think we have a lot of, underwater stuff?
I think there's scripted underwater stuff, but for the most part, you're not really going underwater because you don't have the equipment to go underwater.
Yeah, so we'd need some surface level water stuff where you get knocked off your jet ski and you have to swim back onto it, or but yes, you're not doing much deep sea diving or anything.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you go for the Wind Waker style stamina, in the fact that you can't swim everywhere, so therefore you have to be on the boat. Once you get knocked into the water, then you can only be swimming for a certain amount of time. Otherwise, you start to lose strength, and be pulled under.
Do you let them tread water to get their stamina back up, or is it?
But it can never go to full. But it goes to a certain level, but it'll
it'll waver.
There's a certain distance that you could only ever go, so you couldn't just swim from, even if you had all the hours in the world. Each time that you're getting your stamina back, you're only going to a percentage of what you had before.
Because I'm just thinking that's a good mechanic around. If you're getting shot at but you're running out of stamina. It's like, oh, you need to find some cover to essentially restore some of your stamina to make sure you can get back to somewhere where you can.
Yeah, and I think you can maybe dive down for, maybe 30 seconds max, so that you can sort of dive down and, get underneath.
I think
underneath the rafts or something like that.
But again, you don't want to like make a misjudgment and run out of stamina while you're under a raft, because you literally can't go up for oxygen.
Well, you may be able to. It depends on how the raft is actually situated. Like, there could actually be a bit of air, I guess, under there.
Yeah, but I guess making you don't want to make the misjudgment of going under a section where there's no possibility for coming up for air. Yeah.
So I think when you actually, you run out of stamina in there, you just sort of appear back on land, kind of, someone's dragged you out of water.
You don't think that's a death?
I don't think it's a permanent death. I think it's kind of like a Rockstar death of, you get back up, you lose some of your cash, you've been healed up.
You have to start that mission over.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Because I don't want this as a permanent death sort of thing.
No, I guess I was more just thinking you'd get a game over screen and have to load a checkpoint or whatever. But no, it can be a bit more forgiving than that, for sure. Look, there's a lot to be said for some of Rockstar's mechanics in an open world setting in that way.
Yeah.
For sure. That is fucking cool. I really like that idea. And I wish I had the animation, the 3D animation chops to build that opening scene, because I just love playing with the tropes, the shots from Westerns, seeing the close-up of the fucking brew with the prawn tail sticking out of and then you, sliding down the bar.
You're hearing, cards sort of happening behind you, and people sort of talking in that sort of Western way, and it looks very old Western until you...
But then slowly panning out, and you start to notice that everyone's in wetsuits, and then the saloon doors open. There's the bright, as your eyes adjust, and you see, there's just pure flat sea.
And then you hear that the thump, thump, thump. And someone's walking in flippers.
I love it. All right. I shall give you some words. Building tightrope collaboration.
Ooh.
So I'm almost seeing some sort of multiplayer, arcadey sort of, maybe like a couch co-op sort of thing, but it's around ropes between buildings.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing this as... I know you say couch co-op, but I see this almost like a massive multiplayer game that you've got teams of two trying to help each other get across into like a certain part in the city, and everyone starts at different locations around.
So maybe a bit more of like a battle royale-ish sort of
feel. But without too much of the fighting as such.
Yeah.
There's like a little bit of melee fighting, but
well, okay, I like that, because I love the idea of maybe like throwing things at people as they're crossing tight ropes.
Exactly.
To make it more difficult for them. But also, if you take the time out to do that, you're slowing down yourself and not moving forward.
Who would have thought all those water cannons on all those buildings would be so useful in this world where people are trying to get to the centre?
Okay, all right. Let's explore that a little bit further. So, what are your tools? Like, are you kind of firing out these tight ropes from point to point?
Yeah. And then you need someone on one side to basically like calibrate the rope, because I think there's tension on both sides that basically.
Well, is it around having some level of protection where if you both head across this rope, then someone can very easily come and just like detach one end of it.
Yeah. Of course, the other end, like, you're kind of in a bit of trouble, but that's Well, you got to get across quickly.
But again, generally, that's also about, okay, where am I going to aim? Are there people over there? Like, you can't... It's risky to head towards other people because they could pull out the rope on the other end. But there needs to be some work involved. There needs to be, maybe a little mini game they have to do to pull it out. Different, it's not altogether easy. And while that's happening, like, one of the other opponents could shove them off the building. So I'm thinking maybe it's not just tight ropes in that, like, a tightrope you kind of think of as would need to be on the level.
Yep.
So if you are firing, you can fire straight out and get a tightrope essentially, but you can also maybe do like zip lines, sort of stuff, and also like zip lines up where you've got some sort of like winch sort of thing, but it's obviously slower. Maybe
where you're
work
having
together
to do
with your partner.
AD sort of like pedaling sort of thing, getting that that thing happening.
Yeah, exactly. And so that could be risky because obviously the longer you're on a rope, the more chance there is that someone's going to throw something at you, someone's going to attempt to disconnect
if
your rope.
Zip line down, you're just going to have to get up later on because
that's it. So you're
what goes down has to come back up.
So you're definitely just on these huge skyscrapers. You can't see the ground. It just like goes off into fog below you. But they are of varying heights and varying sizes and varying shapes. And so you're trying to pick your way through to the center goal by making these choices of like, oh, I could go down there because it's like a closer run just as the crow flies, but it means I'm going to have to do a really big climb on that building over there. And, I think you do things like if you're on a zip line going up and someone detaches your starting point, you've still got the top point and it like swings and now it's against the building, but now you're like going vertical.
Or you can get up just a little bit and enter the building and then climb up.
Oh yeah, maybe. Okay.
Because I was thinking if you're walking across and you're sort of, tight roping across and then someone detaches, you can reach down, grab and sort of Tarzan yourself into the building and then climb up a little bit to...
Yeah, I do like the idea of smashing through windows. I just wouldn't want to make it too easy to or too quick to get up on the interior of a building. I wonder if you can smash into buildings, but you have to find a fire escape. So you still there are areas where you can more quickly ascend on the outside of a building via a series of fire escapes, but they might not go all the way to the top or. Yeah, you've got a limited thing there, and so you might get to the top of that little bit of fire escape, and it's like, okay, now what are my choices? I could continue vertically by firing a rope up.
I do also kind of like the idea of you may have now separated your team of two. So you've basically got now 2 on 1 on the guy on the roof. So having a nice, easy way for people to get up, like the central fire escape, up onto the roof probably isn't a bad thing in the fact that you're giving them enough time to sort of get up there, but you're also giving yourself enough time to take out that.
I guess if you make it that it's not easy to get into a building, because you wouldn't want to have them be able to just do a straight tightrope across to a building that's fairly high and then get inside and climb up the building, as opposed to having to do the more risky ascending zip line.
Oh yeah, and I think what you've actually got is on the top of each building you've basically got your grapple points.
Yeah, so you essentially can't grapple to mid-building.
Yeah, you're grappling to these grapple points, and they're on every single building. That's how the tethers actually work. They actually attach to these things. When someone lets it go, you're now okay. One of us now has to deal with getting up, while the other one's also dealing with potentially danger.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't thought about them getting separated. I do like that. So I think you obviously need each person to have their own
skill
grapple gun, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, but to have their own grapple gun so that they can, if you do get separated, either of you can kind of get back to the other. And I mean, if you wanted, you could go it alone if you want to risk that, or split up. But it means, I think that you probably can't go as fast on some of these things. Like, I think particularly like the ascending zip line, you'll go faster if there's two of you, because you're like, if you're getting the rhythm right or something, you can essentially do that faster.
Yeah.
But there could be a benefit to splitting up if you want to like flank someone, or if you're like, okay, hey, I'm going over here, but go like just quickly zip line down there and push that guy off the building or whatever. I'm almost picturing a sort of, I don't know if you want to go this far, but almost like a Gang Beasts situation of grappling and throwing.
Yep.
So that if you do happen to end up on the same rooftop as other players, that there's
you've got that physical sort of lifting up and throwing off and grabbing onto the side of the building and grabbing them.
It's not easy to grab them off if they're trying hard not to fall, and they might just. Do you think
there's something about that physics of, you know, trying to get those physical Gang Beast style people to go across tightropes and stuff like that?
Balance on a tightrope, certainly. And again, particularly if they get things thrown at them, that you have that as a physical reaction to that. Yeah, that's fun. Do you think we let the players detach, like, you know, if they fire a zip line up at an angle, can they just swing? Or is that too... I guess you'd have to just make it
someone has to be on an end to detach it.
Yeah, well, that was almost my... Yeah.
Your person who fires it across, they can maybe detach it, but then, like, they're still on the other side. Like,
yeah, true. That's a good point. I like that, because then you could have techniques of, all right, one of us is going to get on there. I'm going to detach it so you can swing, smash through the building, and quickly get to the top. But then we need to figure out a way
how I'm getting across,
how I'm going to get up. Yeah, I like that, because then you've got a risk and reward kind of balance there.
And I don't think you've got unlimited grapple guns. I think you can maybe find them in the buildings, but you sort of start off with one and each.
But then how? Oh, I see. Because you have to then...
You have to retrieve it, and you can hit a button on the end of each one, and, you know, it'll detach from the other side and sort of...
Yeah.
And you can pick it up again.
You can't do it mid...
No.
Mid rope. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I really like that. That's something I feel like I want to build.
Yeah.
Which is always a good achievement when we come up with one of these games and get inspired to actually make it.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Hey, Trev, what 3 words?
Tapestries, sidle, hamsters.
Sidle, like S-I-D-L-E, like to sidle up to someone?
Yep.
Okay, that's an evocative kind of word.
It is, especially with hamsters, because I'm just imagining, a hamster sort of sidling up to someone. But multiple, because it's hamsters.
Yeah, well, I think we need to go into the world of hamsters here in some way.
Tapestries really evokes, like, maybe an ancient prophecy sort of thing. Like, it's a...
Yeah, I mean, I was just sort of thinking, I was going into, some sort of big castle or ballroom or something with big tapestries, but definitely that could be a prophecy.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of this, you reading through this, seeing this tapestry with all these beautiful coloured pictures, and down the bottom is this little hamster bowl with a hamster inside just running like crazy. And it's like, they somehow knew many years ago. Now I want
okay,
this to be,
hang on,
you're playing the hamster in the hamster ball.
Well, I think it's a world of hamsters. I think there's a world of hamsters, but they don't have hamster balls. Like, this is the past. Like, hamster balls is a technology that hasn't been invented yet.
Or it has been invented, but it's been forgotten.
There is an image of a hamster in some sort of spherical contraption as part of this prophetical tapestry. And yes, you obviously then do play the subject of this prophecy. Mm-hmm. And so the latter, or at least after, I don't know, the first act of the game, you get your hamster ball, and that plays a big part of your gameplay.
So, where do you get the hamster ball from?
I'm thinking there's like a Leonardo da Vinci style
hamster,
Leonardo da Guinea pig or something. I don't know
whether they're actually related there, dude.
They're just similar. They're not the same thing, but it could be a guinea pig. You could have hamsters and guinea pigs in the same space. I was just going for the pun. They're rodents, whatever. Yeah, I think it's that you find someone, whether it's that it was, you find the workshop of this inventor from 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or whatever it is,
and it turns out that it's your great uncle.
Yeah, you have some sort of relation there. But yes, you take control of this hamster ball, which lets you just get around very fast and do Tony Hawk style, half pipe and ramp tricks. Well, and I'm just picturing the hamster ball from fucking Overwatch too, right? Like some of the moves that they've got. I'm picturing.
So in the vein of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, you've got the letters HAMSTER around that you got to like collect in order. You've got the secret.
I think we did a whole.
I know we did. It's just hilarious that you brought it back up. So I'm gonna run.
I was more just thinking of the type of traversal. I don't think we need to go full Tony Hawk. Because I like this more as it is like an action adventure.
Okay, so it's more like Skate.
Skate wasn't it wasn't story based.
A little bit. The first one was anyway.
Really? Anyway, no, I think this is. I think I like the idea that this hamster ball is built in such a way that you can collapse it.
I think it's like
what are those?
Metroid, where you can turn into the ball, or you can like go back into.
Yeah, but I like it. What are those contraptions of the scaffolding, the ball that's sort of a scaffolding thing where you can like pull it out and it becomes circular. You push it in, it kind of gives that star shape.
Yeah, I don't remember what that is.
Do you know what I'm talking about? And someone does. Someone listening does. I'm feeling it's got that sort of vibe to it, where it's like, pull out the ball, and it's sort of the scaffolding kind of expands around you, and you're then like suspended in the middle of it in a gyroscopic kind of thing, and it's like bounding over the terrain. But at any point, you can just sort of collapse that back in. It's like a backpack or something, you know. So that it is very much this mix between
basically it can protect you a little bit more because it's got some sort of armor on the outside, whereas you're rather squishy, so therefore you are going to get hurt a little bit more.
And of course, it definitely makes you move faster, and there are going to be areas of the terrain where you need to like go up a ramp or different things like that.
Yeah, and you get some speed up and you can actually launch over a building, whereas, in your little squishy hamster form, you can go into vents, but that's about it. Like, you can go into vents and traverse.
Well, and I think there's maybe, like, combat and stuff too, right? Like, that you're maybe throwing punches, because I love the idea of a cute little hamster, like, throwing punches with little tiny hands.
I mean, you saying that just brought into my mind like a really, really bloody game where you're disemboweling people and like ripping them apart.
Oh god!
As a cute little hamster.
I mean, it could go there. I was almost starting to get to this is almost an Indiana Jones sort of feel, where this hamster is this real kind of swashbuckling, not necessarily an archaeologist, obviously, but just like a brawler in that way. And with this technology that they've found or that they're discovering.
It's really cool.
That's cool. So what, how does it end? What's the goal even? I mean, there's this prophecy and you found this device and we sort of figured out a lot of the gameplay, but what's the arc there?
What's the arc? I'm thinking that maybe this hamster ball has something to do with time travel. And the reason why you're in this prophecy is because that's actually you.
Oh, we bring in the bootstrap paradox where at the end of it you finally you find the crystal that was also that was part of this prophecy, and when you stick that into the device and go 88 miles per hour, you go back in time and actually you invented it and created the prophecy, except that
you are your own great uncle.
Yes.
So you don't have that grandfather paradox, but you know.
Yeah, you just kind of showed up there as the your uncle in name only.
Family
to
friend.
to your actual great grandparents.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea, because then it's like, okay, he was never actually related to me, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good. I can't actually, do any damage here or whatever. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And then that can set off the, sequel as well.
Which is set back in time, but...
Yeah. But now you've got that hamster ball still, and yeah.
Hey, Ben.
Love it.
What 3 words?
All right, I think we've got time for...
Yeah, one more.
For one final one. Relented thrusters pickles. So, I don't know about relented, but I saw thrusters and pickles, and I definitely thought of some sort of game where you're creating vehicles out of foods from a dinner table.
Okay.
Because I love the idea of attaching pickles to something that are in your thrusters. So I don't know if this is like a food-based kind of, what was that, Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts sort of thing, where you've got a lot of vehicle creation as part of your gameplay. Something like that, but based around foods.
Okay. Yep, I like that. So really, you're looking at using like pickle brine as like...
As your fuel.
Your fuel, or maybe even a lubricant, and then you've got
like your high caffeinated soft drinks as fuel, or carbonated soft drinks as fuel, perhaps.
You've either got a potato or a lemon, depending on which way you want to go, as your battery that you can...
Oh, I thought you were going to say is like when you say you got a lemon in like a bad car. It's like you start off with a lemon. That's your base car. But no, I see where you're going. Yeah, I like a potato battery. That makes sense. For sure. And yeah, I think you sort of make it a physics-based thing, obviously, where you're attaching forces to the various points on the car. You can put the wheels in different places, and I think your wheels are like, I don't know, rolls of cucumber or crackers, different things that you find. Do we want to set this? I feel like a lot of this is...
I kind of like the idea of a big pumpkin wheel. Like, there's just something about a pumpkin and how big you can actually get it, and how uneven it would actually be as the...
Yeah. It's like a giant... I don't know. What would that even be? Kind of like a giant monster truck or something. With these big pumpkin wheels.
But you had to find ones that were about the same size. But you kind of got one of them wrong. So it was sort of like... it's a little bit uneven.
It's totally lopsided.
I
do love the idea of the physical simulation of that with, like... You've already got the pumpkin, which is kind of lumpy around the side. With your little ridges, but then they're also not quite the same size, so you're lopsided and you're physically simulating.
They're not necessarily like where the axle goes through isn't necessarily the direct center, so there may be a little bit of like in the southern hemisphere of this tire, there may be a 10 centimeter difference.
Yeah, totally. You get some drift there, basically. Well, not drift in the way of like drifting around a corner. But you know what I mean. So is this set in like a restaurant then maybe? Because I feel like this is almost like a burger restaurant sort of thing where you'd have a lot of... Just because a lot of the things we talked about go with sort of burgers in that way.
Yes, because pumpkins go really well with burgers.
Except, I mean, you could... I don't know. You can serve it up as a side or something. That'd be a bit weird.
If I wanted, bun wheels, then that'd be fine. But I want pumpkin wheels because pumpkins are funnier.
Fine, it's set in a smorgies. Because then we've got everything. And then we also get to bring back Smorgies. Smorgies kart racer.
It's kind of like a little bit Wreck-It Ralph in the fact that, you know, there was that Candyland racer or whatever it was in the first one. Yeah, where you can build your own racer.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think you've got a lot of tracks and stuff that are, you know, launching between tables, going through the kitchen, across, you know, the serving counter as plates are being put down.
These are some small pumpkins then, aren't they?
Maybe they're like, can't you get those like mini squashes or something?
I'm just giving you shit, dude.
It's fine. Look, you don't have to get all the scale right either anyway if you're just making a food-based racer. Do whatever you want.
Professor Foodskins has created a shrink ray, and he wants to, you know, make sure that all this food is shrunken down so that it can be used as race
made
car.
into vehicles. Yeah. Is it just a racer from that point, do you think? Is it just a kart racer kind of
I think it's a kart racer,
or...
but I would like to actually have a story behind it. Like, it's the one thing that is missing from a lot of these races is just racing for racing's sake. Whereas I think to have an actual story going on behind the scenes where, you know, there is actually a story mode as well as like the typical versus modes. But
and I think in a game where you are literally putting this much work into your vehicles, then yes, you need some sort of story mode as well, because it's not just like a choose your kart, choose your racer, race against your friends. It's, oh no, I'm putting some personality into this. I'm putting some customization into this. So yeah, I think you still have a versus mode, obviously. Oh yeah, but the main thing is
there are some pre-made carts that people can use, and, you know, they can choose out of the multitude of races that they've got. They can even, you know, create a very quick version of themselves by taking a photo, and it like turns them into like a me-like character.
But it's all food. Like we've got a nice style. What do you call those machine learning, like style shifting things, where it'll take that photo, but it'll just essentially apply food to all the shapes. So your eyes will become like olives or crackers or different things, depending.
Oh, so wrong.
But yes, you've got the story mode as you unlock the different levels, the different tracks, essentially, and sort of have different characters show up and challenge you as you go through. Kind of like how in Mortal Kombat, you know, you might have you're still just doing general fights in between that are the same sorts of fights that you do otherwise. So in this, you're still just doing races, but you get little interstitials in between the races to give you a bit of context.
Okay, and just to really turn it on its head, just a little bit. There's also a nemesis system in this. In the fact that
you might have just blown this. You might have blown this episode out by another 10 minutes. But now that you've said that, the idea of a nemesis system in a kart racing game is really fucking cool.
Yeah, you beat someone, and you beat them so soundly that they become your rival, and, you know, basically they start, you know, attacking you a little bit more.
They start gunning for you. You've got Well, and particularly, it might not just be that you beat them, but if we're going sort of full Mario Kart style, where you've got pickups and stuff,
and you're attacking,
if you target someone, you know, and you happen to target them 2 times in a row, they're like, "Oh, you're picking on me." Well,
then you get the telltale thing of, he will remember this.
I think you get a full-on little like Nemesis, like Shadow of Mordor style cutscene, where as you then drive past them, they're like giving you the finger, and you get their name come up, and, you know, Nemesis. Yeah. To make it really clear, or at least in the highlights reel or something.
Yeah. Oh, the highlights reel of all the shit that you've done to your rival, and this is the reason why he's now your main rival, but everyone else is taking grudges against you. Like, I kind of like the idea of.
Yeah, I think you have different relationships with different people, that can vary up and down based on what you do to them in the races. I think you'd make it not as common to get a full nemesis. Like, that comes, one, slightly randomly, but also, obviously, two, the more the more you target one person, the more likely it is they'll become a full-on nemesis to you.
Yeah.
But I do like that idea of social relationships across this campaign mode of a kart racing game. Yes.
Yes. I also kind of like the idea of taking some of the things from maybe Burnout Paradise, where you could sort of drive around and sort of just start up a race wherever you wanted to, or...
Well, that's cool then, actually, because then you can bring in some of the Nemesis stuff where you've kind of just got these characters going around at different points, and if they happen to be near when you start up a race, then that's who you're going up against.
Yeah.
But if you've created a Nemesis at some point, they might start hunting you down.
Oh, I love the idea that you're driving along, you're in a race with like 7 other people, and all of a sudden, across traffic, like your Nemesis,
yes,
your Nemesis comes by,
T-bones
sees who you are.
Literally.
Well, doesn't necessarily T-bone, but they maybe.
Well, no, because their car's made from a steak.
Yes, but I also like the idea that they enter the race as all their thing is they want to take you out. So
yeah, they don't even care about winning. They're just fully gunning for you. I love that. That's cool. I feel like we don't need the food thing now. I feel like this is a new game. Although, we can still keep it food-based because that could just be whimsical and fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is now essentially an open-world racing game where you build your own vehicles out of food items with, essentially characters who live within this world, and you can interact with between races and have social dynamics with, including a full-on
relationship.
Yeah, you can go the other way. You don't just get nemesis, you get lovers.
And they help you throughout races. Like, I could imagine that they take out your enemies for you. They take out your nemesis for you.
Yeah, maybe they're not lovers. Maybe they're just like besties.
Yeah.
So yes,
Bestie.
I think. Yeah. If you
thumbs up as you're driving by, and they notice that someone's coming after you, so they fire out a blue shell.
Because they've got their own nemesis, and if you take out one of theirs, then like there's more chance that they'll be your bestie. And so I like that other side of the nemesis system of being able to go in both directions there, and having those come to play. That just makes races so much more interesting, because then it really matters who you're racing with. Yeah. Like in Mario Kart, I don't care if I'm racing against
Bowser,
fucking Donkey Kong or Bowser or Peach. Like, whatever, they're just the other races.
Fucking Peach.
And yes, they've got a few different stats or whatever, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, if you've got these persistent characters who you've got relationships with and might help you out or specifically target you, that's fucking cool. I would play that then. Yeah. I don't play racing games.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Especially because you'll have the personality of, like, unlike in Burnout Paradise, like, they're all just cars, and they're different types of cars, but it's like, oh, that motherfucker with the Twinkie chassis, like, he's after me.
Yeah. Every time I get near to him, all I see is, like, this cream-filled behemoth coming down, like, chasing me down.
Yes, exactly. Spurting out cream behind it to, like, make its enemies slip and slide.
Oh, yeah, like an oil slick.
Yeah.
Because literally it's petroleum-based or whatever.
Oh, man.
There's just something about having a nemesis system, and it really annoys me that, and we've talked about this before, but the fact that WB, they decided, we're going to patent it, and you can't use it anywhere. But it's like, but you don't use it anywhere. Like, use it.
Well, and
if you're going to patent it, use it.
I haven't looked into the patent. I don't know how strict it is around, and I'm sure it's as open as they could possibly make it, but it's really just around social dynamics, right? Like, It doesn't specifically have to be that they get marked as something called a nemesis, but it's more that you are tracking these relationships with these characters and that they do get certain statuses at a certain point.
Yeah.
So look, we're gonna take it back. It's now called the Bestie system, and it's just around social dynamics between characters in some sort of persistent way.
Persistent friends and frenemies.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. We would need to put that in all our games now. Love it. All right. I think we'll end the episode there.
I really don't want to. This was too much fun.
You just want to keep... Now we need to retroactively go back and add besties to all our other games. I could see that in Wet Dead Redemption.
No.
No? You don't want that in there?
No, Neoprene Cowboy hat is good enough.
People showing up and in the middle of gunfights, harpoon fights, and... No? All right. No, I think we will end it there, as much fun as we are having. So, look, we'd love it if you would shoot us a review over on Podchaser. Go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. We just want to hear what you thought, what you like. We'd love that.
Do you like the idea of a Neoprene Cowboy?
Yeah. Well, is that a thing now? Now that you're saying it this many times over, it sounds like a term that I've heard. No, okay. We invented it. That's all right.
We invented the Neoprene Cowboy. And his hat.
I feel like there must be a similar term. Anyway.
We'd also like it if you could... No, because I don't do that anymore. Jesus Christ, I haven't done that for... I would like to thank the wonderful musicians at the band Kuradust for letting us use the wonderful song Man Defiance of the album Contentment Failure. I forgot it all. I'm not feeling well. Fuck you.
That's right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And howdy, partner. Why don't you hop on the back of my jet ski and we'll skedaddle on out of here.